Holy sh... Oh, excuse my language, sorry. Wow. Yeah, so I'm having a completely different reset of mind. I wish I'd done this before. Here she is. What do you think? Again, many thanks to Watford Harley Davidson and Jay here for lending me the bike for the day. Much appreciated. So the Pan America 1250 adventure bike. Harley Davidson have done an adventure bike. This is nuts. Never done anything like this before. I'm really excited to try this out. I've actually ridden the Harley Sportser S, the 2022 model, just here, this very one there, with the same engine. It's got the same 1250 motor, so let's see how it goes in a adventure style motorbike. You have to excuse me today, I've got a bit of the lurgy. It's not COVID, as I don't want to scare anyone off. Not that you can catch COVID over camera. I don't think they've proven that yet. Let's fire her up for the first time. Now this is the special edition, I should say. So it's got the adaptive ride height, which is really interesting, but we'll get into that later. What I like to do on these reviews is just jump on, fire the girl up, take it for a ride and just do a really first initial impressions, and then we'll stop somewhere a bit nicer and get into sort of details, specs, power, suspension, etc. So it's keyless ignition, which is nice, very modern. I think most new Harleys have that now. Let's fire her up. Yeah, so the last bike I rode, test rode, was the Triumph 660 Tiger Sport, the new one. Very nice bike, but that was a triple motor. And this is obviously a twin, and you can very much feel that. First impressions for sure. Got a bit of vibes through the handlebars and the seat, but as to be expected in a twin, I mean, that's part of their character. Okay, sweet. And we're off. So this is literally a first impression. So I must say, actually, strangely enough, this is the first big bore, you know, one of the big engined adventure motorbikes I've ever ridden. I've done the Africa Twin, but as far as 1200cc plus engines go, this is the first one. So I hope it's a good welcoming to the big adventure world from Harley here. Okay, so first impressions, it turns in nicely. Yeah, and it's got some poke as well. I'm in road mode at the moment. You've got various modes, we'll go over those later, but I'm straight on, and fair play Harley, it's very comfortable. I feel right at home on it. It's exactly the same motor as in the Sportser S, the new Harley Sportser S, but a slightly different tune. Jay at the dealership was actually telling me the motor in the Sportser S is the 1250T version, which stands for torque, and the one in this Pan America is the 1250S, which, let's say, it stands for speed. It's got a bit more horsepower. For Harley Davidson, the first ever adventure bike, or any style of motorbike they've made like this. Very interesting to ride this, and from what the reviews I've seen so far on YouTube, it's got some really good reviews. So yeah, I'm really interested to give it a go. Initial impressions on the motor is it does feel different to in the Sportser S actually. You can obviously definitely tell it's a twin. It feels nice, it feels good. I'm not sure, it's early days, we're in town. I think I preferred it in the Sportser S version so far, but you know, hardly ridden it yet, so give it time. Immediately when I sat on the bike, actually, it feels very well put together, and it's got a really nice riding position, which is good. The handlebars come up sort of closer to you. I actually feel really comfortable. I'm 5'9", and I'm not stretching for the handlebars. The seat's really comfy. A great riding position. So far so good. In town it's easy. Catch up with you in a bit. Let's go and hit some nicer roads. Take this bike out on some good roads where it's meant to be. And yeah, catch you in a bit. Just on the way to the nice roads on the dual carriageway here. How does she feel on some quicker roads? Well, I'm at 55 miles an hour now on cruise control. Very comfortable. Cruise control works really well. Obviously on here, it's got everything. It's a top. It really is a sort of top spec'd out, top of the range adventure motorbike. You've got your heated grips, cruise control, tyre pressure monitoring. You've got your adjustable screen here. At the moment, that is at its highest point. I am getting some buffering on the top of my helmet, but it's a windy day. The bonuses on the motorway, apart from all of that tech, is it's very comfortable. That is something that immediately stands out to me. It's a really comfortable riding position. I do like the mechanism of the screen. So you just pull a lever, roll it forward and it goes down, and then roll it up and you're up. I'm not sure whether it may be the wind today or the wind direction, but we're going 66 miles an hour and I'm getting pretty buffeted by wind here actually. It may just be the wind direction. Power wise is a big bonus on the motorway. I mean, it's 1250cc motor, plenty of power there. We roll on a bit. Yeah, it's definitely not lacking for power at top end. You could just sit at 70-75 quite comfortably. There's just something still, I would say, that I'm just not quite gelling with on this bike at the moment. Just personally, I don't know what it is. It's quite vibey, and some people love that, you know. If that's your thing, then I think you're going to love this bike, but it's just not, you know, it takes me time. I need time to get used to these things, riding bikes. Let's see what she's like on the twisties here. So far, feels fun. I mean, the suspension feels really good. It's a bit of a slippy day today, so I'm not going crazy. Oh, look at this, proper adventure muddy road. But this is what she's built for. You've got to put her through her paces. I'm struggling. I'm really struggling. I don't know whether it's because I'm feeling a bit, I've got the man flu, but yeah, it's interesting bike. I'm a bit torn, if I'm being honest. It handles really well. It's handling really well. It's really comfortable. It's just something when the powertrain is not quite gelling with me. Nice engine braking actually. It reminds me slightly, the engine, I suppose, it reminds me slightly of a sort of older KTM, if that makes sense. Quite, the clattery's a bit harsh, a bit much, but it's got character. Turns in really nicely. It's really nice handling. And this is a brand new bike. It's got 300 miles on, so the engine will loosen up a bit. So I'm getting used to it now, and it is a really nice bike actually. The whole package, the handling, the damping on the suspension, the comfort, it's all really good. And we'll go over the screen in a bit, but it's got all of the technology, and for Harley Davidson to have made an adventure bike like this that handles and is very composed as well, it is impressive. It's a quick, fun bike. You can chuck it about, which is cool. Like if we're comparing it for instance to the, what should we say, Africa Twin, this is a lot more sporty and it handles a lot better, I would say. Definitely. The only thing with me, and I'm going to keep on saying it, don't take it as a bad point because it really is a personal preference, but is the engine's vibiness. It's really nice. It comes on really nicely and it's got a nice wedge of torque and that induction noise. Just when the revs get higher, there, I personally, I don't like that. It's too vibey. But that's just me. I mean, I'm sort of not chucking it around. I'm not a massively racy rider, but I've only been riding it for about an hour and it's really confidence inspiring. I really can give it a little bit and feel completely comfortable, which is, in itself, I think is really impressive. So let's go have a coffee and chat over some of the finer details of the Harley Davidson Pan America. Nice, so nice place for a stop here. Have a bit more of an in-depth chat over the Pan America. But I'll show you one thing which when I've stopped a couple of times now, and it's not a bad thing, it's just getting used to it. Naturally I go here, it's on my Speedmaster I guess, that's the stand, but that's actually the centre stand there. So I keep on doing that, but it's actually forward of the gear lever. There's the stand. It's neither here nor there. It's just getting used to it. Anyway, here she is. Let's get a bit more of a in-depth. Let's start with the engine. I feel as if I've been sort of hating on the bike a bit. I haven't at all. I don't hate it. I'm actually really impressed. The only thing is the vibes in the engine, but I'm getting a bit more used to it now. Just chilling out a bit on the bike. I find that a lot. It takes me a while to get used to it, and I'm warming up to it. Anyway. The motor, oh that's hot. The motor is the Harley's brand new 1250 Revolution Max. It's 150 brake horsepower in this tune and 128 Newton meters of torque. By no means is it lacking power. It's not like an old classic Harley engine, obviously, but just in case, it's not like a big cruiser low down torque. It's a very modern, really good feeling engine, plenty of power, nice linear power curve. There are peaks of torque, which is quite nice, makes it nice and characterful, but yeah, it's a modern engine. So coming on to the weight of the bike, it's straight in with it, it's 258 kilograms wet, which if we compare it to the GS is 268 kilograms wet, so it's like 10 kilograms lighter than the GS. But if you're comparing it to maybe the Honda Africa Twin, for instance, it is a fair bit heavier than the Africa Twin. Now, when you're riding it, it's really good, actually. I'm really impressed. You can't feel that weight really anywhere, actually, when you're riding it. It's very nimble, sporty. It's a great sporty ride. On the other point, if you are stopping, and I find when I'm hopping on and off the bike, mainly off, it can feel heavy at times, depending on the camber of the road. But let's do the standard obligatory test and do some moving, bearing in mind we're on gravel. Yeah, I mean it doesn't feel light, but you know, moving around, and I am on gravel, it's fairly easy. When you lift it off the stand, there is a bit of weight there, but as to be expected on a big adventure bike. Moving on, coming on to the seat height. So the low seat on the Pan America is 850 millimeters, and then you can have the highest option for the seat is 875 millimeters. That's a pretty standard adventure bike range in seat heights. So it feels good. It's just like any other adventure bike, really. I'm 5'9", I can quite comfortably hop on and off. It's obviously a lot taller than sports bikes or cruisers, but that's the adventure bike segment. However, this bike does have one really cool feature, which I'm surprised other manufacturers haven't thought of yet. And I'm going to try and capture it on camera. I don't know if it will show it, but it's adaptive ride height. Basically, what that means is when you come to a stop, so at the light, when you come to get off the bike, basically, you're riding along, and then as it senses you're coming to a stop, it automatically lowers the suspension and the ride height. So it makes it easier for you to get on and off the bike. Does it work? I've had a couple of times where I haven't noticed it today, if I'm being completely honest. I've thought, hang on a minute, this is still a little bit tricky to get off. However, a couple of times where it's been really good, and you notice it lowering down, and you can really notice the benefits of it. Helps if you have the key in your hand, keyless ignition. So I'm just going to flick the ignition on now and see if you can notice the difference. It should drop down the bike. Did you notice anything there? I did on the bike. I could feel it drop down. It didn't do it as much as it has a couple of times before, so I don't know how consistent it is. But yeah, I'm guessing you probably couldn't see that on camera, but you really can feel it lower down when it does it properly. So yeah, on the seat ride height adaptiveness, I think good for Harley. I think it's really cool, and it does seem to work actually. There have been a few moments where I haven't noticed anything, but that may just be me. All round, nice one, Harley. Alrighty, swiftly moving on to suspension and wheels. So wheels, we've got 17-inch front and rear, and yeah, I think that adds to the handling on the road actually. It handles surprisingly well. Really impressed with the handling. Let's say that. So the suspension at the front, you have a 47mm inverted fork that is semi-active damping. So on the rear suspension we have a monoshock with automatic preload and semi-active damping. Moving on to the brakes. The front brakes, we have a 4-piston caliper Brembo at the front with 2 discs. And at the rear brakes we have a floating single piston caliper. So it's a 6.8-inch colour TFT screen. It can look a little bit complicated, but actually if I go to the main menu here, I think it's really well set up. I'm not going to go into massive detail because we'll be here forever. It's got so much technology. It's a very, very smart, modern, capable bike. But yeah, I think it's a very intuitive layout, I say. It's a little bit intimidating at first. You think, Christ alive, how am I going to how am I going to work this out? But once you flick through it a little bit, it all makes sense. Alright guys, before we go out for a ride and pop her into sport mode, which I'm told makes a big difference, so that's going to be fun, let's see what this 1250 Revolution Max motor with 150 brake horsepower and 128 Newton meters of torque, let's see what she sounds like. Okay, here we go. This is first impressions. I haven't had it in sport yet. Just press the mode button, nice and simple. Okay, she's in sport. Wow. Yeah, same as on the Sportster S, you can feel it immediately. So I've been impressed with the engine all day, but holy sh**. Oh, excuse my language, sorry. Yeah, so I'm having a completely different reset of mind. I wish I'd done this before. It's like a completely different bike when you put it in sport mode. I mean, seriously. That engine has just completely come alive. I didn't want to hate on it too much earlier because it is nice. It's nice in road, it's comfortable. There was something lacking. But putting it in sport has completely solved that. Much more responsive, much peppier. I think we're going to have to do another review on this at some point. Would I have one? Not sure. I'd need longer with it, definitely. I'd need to test ride its competition. I'd need to test ride the Beamer, the GS, and possibly the new 1200 Tiger. Thank you for watching, guys. Till next time, hope you like the review. Catch you in the next one. As always, stay happy. Ciao bella.